There's a saying that a dirty room equals a dirty mind. You have to exercise self-control and avoid hoarding your belongings until you decide that you need to keep them. Think once, how would it feel to have the thing buried so deeply in the cupboard or drawer that you have forgotten? If things had feelings, would they be happy? You must think it will take me a long time to do this, but you need not worry. Attachment to the past and fear of the future control how you choose things and influence your decisions in every aspect of your life, including your relationships with people and your job. If you look honestly at things and accept your attachment to the past and your fear of the future, you can see what's important to you. Whatever you let go of will come back precisely the same amount, but only if it feels the desire to return to you. Ever feel like your brain is as jumbled as your bedroom on a messy day? The life-changing magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo is here to rescue both. It's not just about cleaning your space, it's about sorting out your thoughts and finding calm in the chaos of life. Imagine a world where every item you own makes you smile, and your home feels like a peaceful retreat. That's exactly what Kondo's method promises. As we crack open her book, we are not just getting cleaning tips, we're unlocking a whole new way of living, one that's simpler, happier, and more organized. So, let's jump into the adventure of tidying up, ready to declutter not just our rooms but our minds and lives too. It's true that while schools provide training in everything from cooking to yoga, you'll need help finding classes on how to clean. The general belief is that cleaning does not need to be taught but is learned by itself. Think about your childhood. Most of us must have been scolded for not keeping our rooms clean. Our parents demanded that we keep our room clean, but they were never trained on how to do so. Food, clothes and housing are the most basic needs of human beings, so where we live should be considered as vital as you consider these needs. It is not that those who have been cleaning for more years than others are better cleaners. 25% of the author's students are women over 50, and most have been homemakers for about 30 years. But many of them cannot clean better than trained women of 20 years. Many of them have spent so many years adopting the wrong old ways that their homes are full of useless things, and the house needs to be more organized due to the stock made of useless things. If you don't even know how to clean, don't despair. Now is the time to learn. By practicing the methods learned in this book, you can break the cycle of an unorganized. To make the book easy to understand, we will discuss its important lessons in 8 chapters. But before you get lost in this video, if you have come to our channel for the first time, then do not forget to subscribe. Our channel is one of the best summary channels on YouTube. Our videos may sometimes be a little long as we never compromise on the quality of the book and content. Therefore it is very important to watch the video till the end. So let's start. Chapter 1, Why you should aim for perfection. You must have often heard you don't aim for perfection. Start slowly and remove just one item a day. It seems challenging to strive for perfection from the very beginning. Furthermore, an embodiment is considered just an imagination, and it is believed that by cleaning one thing every day, you can get rid of 365 items by the end of the year. The author was motivated by this fact and started adopting it. She opened her wardrobe in the morning, found an old t-shirt she no longer wore, and threw it in the trash. Before going to bed the next night, he opened his desk drawer, found a notebook that was no longer in use, and put it in a bag to return to the library. This is how she did it for a few days. But she could not do it continuously, even for 2 weeks, because she was also not the kind of person who completes every task ahead of time, like most people who do their work on the last day just before the deadline. This method needs to be fixed. Also, how can cleaning be done by removing one item a day when we buy something new every day? That's why the speed with which she was reducing the waste material was also increasing at the same rate. And only a little time passed when she forgot to remove one waste item daily. If you clean half-heartedly, you can never organize your house. If, like the writer, you too are not a hardworking, passionate type, then make perfection your goal just once. Many people consider perfection to be impossible. But don't panic, because cleaning is just a physical job. Broadly divide the work involved into 2 parts, decide whether to remove something and where to put it. If you can do these 2 things, then you can achieve perfection. The items can be counted. You have to look at each item individually and decide whether to keep it and where to keep it. That's all you need to do to get this job done. It is easy to do a thorough cleaning in one stroke. Imagine an unorganized room. It doesn't get dirty by itself. You, the person who lives in it, make a mess. There's a saying that a dirty room equals a dirty mind. When a room is unorganized, it's more because of your thinking than just the clutter on the outside that affects your mind. Visible clutter distracts us from important things. You have time to see your inner condition when your room is clean and organized. You can do any work that you have been putting off till now. When you start cleaning, you will be mentally ready to reset your life. As a result, you will have time to devote to other things. So organize your house as soon as possible. Doing is just a goal, not your final destination. Once your home is organized, the real goal is to create the lifestyle you want to live. Cleaning starts with more than storing stuff. There are two rules of cleanliness. Once you pick up the thing and keep it in one place, the other quickly removes what is unnecessary. It is our nature to take the easy route, so most people adopt the storage method. The author also made drawers and bought a magazine stand. Even though her room was filled with magazine racks, bookshelves, drawer dividers, and other storage items, storage still needed to solve the problem of getting rid of an unorganized home. This happens because people keep things in them, too, most of which are not required. By doing this, all the storage spaces get full one day, and the room again looks full. This is why cleaning begins with removal. You have to exercise self-control and avoid hoarding your belongings until you decide that you need to keep them. For this, think about why you want to remove something before removing it and write it on a notepad. Chapter 2. Visualize your destination. Before starting, you must have understood where to put things and remove the unnecessary stuff by now. But deleting without thinking would be like unorganizing yourself. You can start by identifying your goal. See, what inspired you to clean in the first place? What do you hope to achieve from the cleanup? Before you start getting rid of things, take the time to think them through. It means imagining the ideal lifestyle that you dream of. I want to be clutter-free. Or avoid unnecessary things, like detailed goals. It would help to have a clear lifestyle image and an enjoyable life you will live after removing it. You can do something like this. For example, you are keeping things necessary for aromatherapy before sleeping, keeping a piano to listen to classical music while doing yoga, running a machine to lose weight, etc. If you find it difficult, you can't imagine the kind of life you want, try looking at the pictures in interior design magazines that attract you. Visiting model homes can also be helpful. Looking at different types of homes will help you get a feel for what you like. After visualizing your ideal lifestyle, your next step is identifying why you want to do this. Review your notes about the lifestyle you want to have and think again. Why would you want to do aromatherapy before bed? Why do you want to listen to classical music while doing yoga? If the answers are, because I want to relax before sleeping and do yoga to lose weight. Ask yourself why you want to relax and lose weight. Your responses are, I want to feel energized when I go to work the next day, and I want to lose weight to be more fit. In this way, after every answer, ask yourself again, why? Repeat this process 3 to 5 times for each item. You will get a more straightforward feeling as you discover the reasons behind your ideal lifestyle. Chapter 3. One category at a time. Decide what to keep based on what makes your heart happy. This is the most essential step towards cleanliness. First, do not start putting on the base of the place and leave. Do not think, I will clean the bedroom and go to the living room or from up to down see my drawers one by one. This method is impractical. Because most people does not keep similar things in one place. In most homes, items in the same category are kept in 2 or more places. Let's say you start with the bedroom wardrobe. When you sort everything out, you'll find clothes in a separate room or a coat draped over a living room chair. Then you have to repeat the process of placing, deleting, wasting time and effort. And you will not be able to guess exactly what you want to remember and delete in such a situation. Repetition and wasted efforts can kill motivation, so it should be avoided. Before choosing what to keep for it, gather everything that falls into one category at a time. And separate the item from every other type. To understand this, let us take the example of the clothes. Have to search every room in the house. Bring whatever cloth you can find in one place and spread it on the floor. Then pick each piece up and see if it makes you happy and is worth keeping. Do the same process for each category. If you have a lot of clothes, you can create subcategories like tops, bottoms, socks, etc. And can check dresses of one subcategory at a time. Gathering every item in one place is essential for this process as it gives you accurate information about how much stuff you have. By collecting things in one place, you can compare the designs of items in that category, making it easier to decide whether you want to keep them or not. By doing this, even the things kept out of sight come to the fore. Dealing with just one category at a time speeds up the cleaning process. So collect every item in the category you are working on. Don't let anything go unnoticed. Chapter 4. Harness the power of the environment. One day the author went to the waterfall at the invitation of one of her friends. This experience taught her an essential similarity between meditating under a waterfall and cleaning. When you stand under a waterfall, the only sound is the sound of the water. As the waterfall moves over your body, restlessness soon vanishes, and a calmness spreads in the body. Although cleaning is not the same as meditating by a waterfall, it is very similar. This is how you should talk to yourself while cleaning, to think wisely about everything you have and see if it sparks happiness in you. Therefore, it is necessary to create a quiet place to analyze things. It would help if you did not even listen to the song. Internal conversation between the owner and his belongings becomes difficult due to the noise, so there is no question of watching TV. If you need some background sound to relax, choose a music without a song or a friendly tone. If you want to speed up your cleaning work, use the power of your room's environment instead of depending on the song. The best time to start is in the morning. The fresh air of the morning keeps the mind clear and the power of understanding sharp. At that time, you can do cleaning at twice the average speed. Chapter 5. What to do when you can't remove something. As you know, our criteria for deciding whether to keep a thing is to feel happy when we touch it. But it is our nature to resist throwing something away even when we know it is no longer needed. Our decisions can be divided in two ways: comfortable and factful. When it comes to choosing what to give up, so actually this is a factful decision that causes trouble. Even though we know comfortably that keeping something is no longer necessary, a fact mindset gives us all kinds of reasons not to discard it, and like I might need it later. Or it might be a loss to get rid of it. These thoughts keep going round and round in our minds, which makes it difficult to let go. When you come across something that you find difficult to give up, think carefully about when you got that item and what it meant to you then. Re-examine its need in your life. For example, if you have a few clothes you have bought but have yet to wear, go through them individually. Where did you buy that suit, and why? If you purchased it because you thought it looked good in the store, then it had done its job of making you happy when you bought it. Then why have you never worn it? Was it because you realized it didn't suit you then you tried it at home? If so, and if you no longer buy clothes of the same type or color, it has accomplished another critical task. It has taught you what doesn't suit you. That cloth has outlived its importance in your life. Now say to that cloth, "Thank you for making me happy when I bought you," or "Thank you for teaching me what doesn't suit me," and remove it. Each item has a different importance. Not all clothes come to you to wear. It is the same with people. Not every person you meet will become your true friend or life partner. Some will find it challenging to live with you. But these people also teach you whom you like. It is also essential to meet such people so that you can appreciate and respect those people who love you and support you. When encountering something you cannot part with, think carefully about its real purpose. You would be surprised to know how many things you have already completed its need. By acknowledging their contribution and letting them go, thankfully, you can organize your life around the things that matter in the present. And in the end, only the items you want to keep will be left. Getting rid of something you no longer need is neither wasteful nor shameful. Think once, how would it feel to have the thing buried so deeply in the cupboard or drawer that you have forgotten? If things had feelings, would they be happy? So set them free from the prison where you have put them. By doing this, you and your items will feel clean and fresh. Chapter 6. Follow your intuition, and everything will happen automatically to choose the things that spark joy when you touch them. Hang the clothes on the hangers that feel the most. Don't worry about removing too much stuff. There will come a moment when you automatically know what is essential. If you have understood now correctly, you must have seen that your feelings are standard for taking decisions in this process. Many people try to adopt unclear traditional goals. Like, throw away everything you haven't used for the last 2 years, 7 jackets and 10 blouses is the right amount, get rid of one thing every time you buy something new. But with these methods, the burdensome results come to the fore even after some time. Even if these methods get a clean place for some time, the standards set by the experience of others will only have long-term effects if their standards match your criteria. Only you can know what kind of environment and things make you feel happy. This work is very personal. To avoid rebound, create your cleaning method with your standard. This is why it is essential to identify how you feel about everything you own. By reducing the amount you can adequately handle, you rekindle your relationship with your belongings. Just because you let go of something doesn't mean you let go of past experiences or your identity. Choosing what inspires happiness can help you identify precisely what you like and need. When we look at our things honestly, they create many feelings in us. Those feelings are real. These feelings are the ones that give us the energy to live. If you act on that inner wisdom, you will be amazed at how things add to your life. Chapter 7. Designate a specific place for everything. The author shares her daily routine to live in an organized way. When she comes home from work, the first thing she does is open the door and pick up the pair of shoes she wore yesterday and left at the entry gate, saying thank you so much for your hard work and putting them in the shoe cupboard. Then she removes the shoes she is wearing and keeps them on the side of the entry gate. Going to the kitchen, she turns on the kettle and goes to her bedroom. She gently puts her handbag on the rug and changes her office clothes there. She puts her jacket and dress on the hanger, says thank you, and hangs them by the door handle. She opens a drawer, chooses the clothes she wants to wear inside and wears the clothes. Her next task is to empty her handbag on the rug and put everything in its place. First, she takes out all the receipts, then thanks them and puts her wallet in a drawer under her bed. She keeps her wristwatch in a pink antique case in the same drawer and her necklace and earrings on the helping tray. Before closing the drawer, she says thank you for everything you did for me today. Next, she returns to the entry gate, takes her receipt pouch from a nearby shelf and puts her receipts in it. Then she keeps her digital camera in place of electrical things. Papers used up go to the recycle bin under the kitchen stove. Then she takes tea from the kitchen and goes to her bedroom. She closes the room and rests for a while. All of this only takes about 5 minutes in total. This author's daily life shows how having a specific place for everything can make things easier and more comfortable, making it second nature to keep your space tidy. You must think it will take me a long time to do this, but you need not worry. Although in the beginning, since you have already decided to keep the stuff according to the category, you must keep them next to each other. Having a specific place for every item is essential because, without it, the chances of that place becoming unorganized again increase manifold. For example, let's say you have a shelf with nothing on it. If you leave such a thing on it that does not have a specific place on that shelf, then many useless things will be kept there in no time. But fixing a place for each item will only buy what you need. Your things will be manageable, and your stock will be reduced. Chapter 8. Attachment to the past or worrying about the future. Discard anything that doesn't spark joy. If you've tried these methods even a little, you should know by now that it's easy to identify something that makes you happy. The moment you touch it, you know the answer. But many times, we come up with different reasons for not removing it, like I didn't use this utensil for the whole year, but who knows, I may need it suddenly. Or the same necklace that was given to me by my lover, I liked it very much at that time. During the choosing process, if you encounter something that doesn't bring you joy but can't bring yourself to throw it away, stop for a moment and ask yourself, am I getting rid of it because of attachment? Or I am doing this because of fear of past or future? Ask this for each item. As you do this, you'll see a pattern that falls into one of three categories: attachment to the past, a desire to be stable in the future, or both. You would not be able to do it. It is essential to understand this pattern because it is an expression of the values that guide your life. What do you want to achieve, or how do you want to live your lifetime? Attachment to the past and fear of the future control how you choose things and influence your decisions in every aspect of your life, including your relationships with people and your job. For example, when a woman is very worried about the future and wants to choose a partner, she is less likely to choose a guy because she likes being with him and feels good. Instead, she may choose someone she does not like, but because the relationship seems beneficial to her or because she is afraid that if she does not choose him, she may not find someone else. Regarding career options, a person with the same mindset is likelier to choose a job in a more prominent company because it will give him more opportunities in the future or develop specific skills as a guarantee, not because he likes it and wants to do that work. On the other hand, a person with a strong attachment to the past will find this problematic. For example, it will be difficult for her to adopt new ways to move towards a new relationship because she may be unable to forget her boyfriend with whom she broke up 2 years ago. If she keeps sitting with the same connection in mind, it isn't easy to try new ways in a new relationship. When one or the other of these thought patterns makes it difficult to let things go, we can't see what we need now. We must be clear about what will satisfy or what we are looking for. As a result, by increasing the number of useless things, we immerse ourselves physically and mentally in useless things. For this, tell yourself what you want. It would help if you sorted through everything you don't need and eliminated what you don't need. But you need to look at them before you start removing unnecessary things. Face the things you have one by one. And feel the feelings that arise when you see them. You can take 3 approaches to your belongings: face them now, never meet them, or avoid them until you die. The choice is yours, but it is better to face them now. If you look honestly at things and accept your attachment to the past and your fear of the future, you can see what's important to you. If you can trust your decisions and work with full enthusiasm without any doubt, then you will be able to achieve a lot. Think about why you have things. They want to help you, too, not just be with you. Looking carefully, you will find that our destiny connects us with the things that we have. For example, take a shirt. Even if it is mass-produced in a factory, that particular shirt that you bought and brought home on that specific day is unique to you. The destiny that made you achieve everything you want is the same one that connected you with valuable people. Everything you have has a reason for coming to you. Stuff that doesn't make you happy wants to go somewhere else. What you have wants to be of use to you. Even if you throw it away or burn it, it will only release the energy of desire to serve. Physically released, it will move around your world as energy, telling other things that you are a particular person, and that power will come back to you in the form of other valuable items. Whatever you let go of will come back precisely the same amount, but only if it feels the desire to return to you. So, when you are separated from something, don't be upset. Instead, send it cheerfully with the words "Thank you for finding me," or "Have a great trip. See you soon." In this way, eliminate the things that no longer bring happiness. Our items are happier when we let them go than when we receive them. Thank you, friends. This was the book summary of The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. Let's repeat this book's important lesson again, so that it becomes easier for you to implement them. Treat cleaning as crucial as doing other things. Make it a goal to completely organize the items of one category at a time. Before starting, visualize your destination and how you will enjoy stress-free life after cleaning. Instead of listening to music while cleaning, use your environmental power. When encountering something you cannot part with, think carefully about its real purpose. If necessary, divide the category into subcategories. Thanks, friends. I know this book was a different kind of book, not like regular self-help books. But it is very important to understand this topic and implement it in your life. Because often the energy to our things goes into our mind and our brain consistently, which defines our mood and can also cause stress, and which we can also avoid with our stress. Therefore, share this video with every person who is very unorganized or doesn't keep things in the right place. If you like this video, please let us know by commenting. See you soon with more great videos. Thank you so much.